Welcome to Christian Warrior Training. My name is Keith. In this episode, we're going to take you outside of the church because we're going to teach you how to contact suspicious vehicles. Now, a lot of times when we look at cars that we need to contact in the parking lot, a lot of you just want to go walk right up and go contact them. But there's more to it than just that. We're going to talk about safe approaches. We're going to talk about how to position yourself at the vehicle so you don't get hurt. And at the same time, you're friendly, but you still have a plan to protect yourself if you need to. Now, it's cold out here in southern Idaho right now. It is below freezing. If anybody complains about the cold, they have to put their pronouns in their bio. Now, if you hate when people put pronouns in their bio, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe, like, leave a comment. The algorithm likes it. Like I told you earlier in many different episodes, I've told you that all problems start in the parking lot. If there's an active shooter, they have to come into the parking lot and then come into the church. If somebody wants to kidnap a child, if they want to disrupt the service, if they want to do anything like that, they all got to start in the parking lot. And a lot of times they sit in their car and they wait and somebody will complain about it. And so you have to go out and check it out. So we're going to go show you exactly what needs to be done. We're also going to show you the scenarios that we're doing as well. We're doing a couple of different scenarios for all of our people. We have about 40 people out here today. We have 4 different scenarios. We're only going to be able to do 3 on here. Otherwise, YouTube will demonetize us because one of them, it involves an act of violence that, well, they'll ban us and ban the video. So we've got to kind of work around those issues. But if you want to replicate this at your church, I got the entire outline along with the scenarios in a download over at courses.christianwarriortraining.com. You can head over to our courses. You can find the one dealing with suspicious vehicles. And then you can find the download over there, and you can watch the video over there and get a certificate of training at the same time. If you want to support what we're doing, head on over to christianwarriortraining.com and subscribe to our newsletter. And then each week we'll give you spam-free information about keeping your church safe. All right, let's go head out to the parking lot. A lot of times we have cars in the parking lot that are suspicious and we need contact. If we don't have any training, what people tend to want to do is to want to make a forward approach to the car. Like, this is the easiest path. A lot of people just look for the easiest path. So the car is suspicious. I came from over there. And just walk up and go like, hey, how are you? How are you today? Welcome to the church. That's bad because the person can see you. You're out in the open. You can't really see them. They've got the advantage. We want you to be an enhanced greeter. We want to make sure that when you talk to them, you're friendly, but still have a plan to defend yourself, right? So part of defending yourself is, let's say I'm coming, somebody reports a suspicious vehicle, no matter what it is. Most of the time I'm going to come out from right here, and I'm going to look for a safe path for me to go contact that person. So that safe path may not be straight out the door and making a beeline for the car. It may be, I'm going to come this way because I've got the pillars for cover. And then now that brings me to the back of the vehicle. And so now as I come up to the back of the vehicle, we're not going to do anything fancy, but we're coming back on this way because if that person they can see me in the rearview mirror, but if they want to attack me, they have to turn around, and that's my first warning sign. And I can see them raise a gun or do whatever. The other thing is there's some natural points of cover in a vehicle that we're going to talk about, these points of cover, but one of them, this is called the B pillar. This is pretty thick. I've got some concealment in that it's hard for them to see me. It's the blind spot of the vehicle. But also, if he shoots at me, I can kind of come back like this. I can come backwards. And now he's actually got to physically come out to shoot me. But we want to make sure they're just not afraid to come inside the church and come see us. So we want to make sure they're not suspicious, but we also want to make sure that if they did want to come in and worship, that we get them inside. So I like just coming around and going like, hey, my name's Keith. I'm with the church. How are you today? And then the minute you start talking, and somebody earlier brought up this great point, one of the things that they said was they did that the other day, and the person was like, oh, hey, yeah, I'd like to come in. Is there assigned seating? They were obviously a new Christian, and they just didn't, they were afraid. And we're now here. When they were suspicious, they're obviously not suspicious now. So right now it's like, oh, well, let me help you find a seat. No, it's not assigned seating. Why don't you come on inside and we'll get you a seat. Let's go. And then now you come inside, and also when they open the car door, you can see that when the car door opens, now I've got the free view of inside the vehicle, right? And now I've double checked everything. I'm like, oh man, for sure this guy is not suspicious. He's just afraid to come in. All right, hey, come on in, man. And then now you got a new friend. and now you hang out. Or conversely, you come up here and they were going to do an active shooter event, and now you just interrupted it. And you come up and like, hey, I'm Keith, I'm with the church, and all of a sudden the guy starts pulling the gun out. You can now engage from here. You can step back, engage from back here. Now let's talk about we talked about the approach, and that approach, when you come up, look for escape routes, points of cover. Like if all of a sudden the guy starts the car up and I realize he's going to try and run me over, my escape point is to come back to the pillars, because the pillars back there are actually sturdy pillars. And that's my first route to get out and out of the way, right? So I can start backing up to get out of the way. If this person decides to use his vehicle as a weapon, the chances of you stopping it with your pistol or even an AR-15 is minimal, okay? I've been to a couple of officer-involved shootings where vehicles are involved, and your only option is to incapacitate the driver, which is to shoot him in the head, basically, and your chances of doing that are minimal. If you hit him, he's going to have to bleed out, and that's going to be a couple of minutes. So what point I'm getting at is you shooting at this vehicle to stop it, get it out of your head. That ain't going to happen. LAPD or LA County did a great video where they got a car that was running, and they let it drive forward, and all they did was everybody shot it with everything. Pistols, shotguns, whatever they had. That car ran for another 10 minutes and was drivable.
And in tests conducted by our training staff, weapons readily available to patrol deputies have proven ineffective at stopping vehicles. 9mm and .45 caliber rounds were unable to stop a moving vehicle, and a majority of the rounds did not penetrate the passenger compartment. Deputies fired 4 rounds each of 9mm, .45 caliber, double-aught buck, .223 caliber, and 12-gauge rifled slugs had an engine while it was running. The vehicle's engine was not disabled and continued to run even after being driven for over a mile.
Now, when we look at vehicles, I want to talk about points of cover in a vehicle. Now, let's say this is the suspect vehicle that I want to contact. Let's go over to another vehicle that we're going to use for cover while we deal with this. Let's say that our suspect vehicle is over there, the one that we just approached. Now we're going to use cover on our way up. So I'm going to use this vehicle as part of my cover on my approach. And it's also going to be part of my escape route. It's a Subaru. It's a kind of a standard car for where we're at in Idaho. There are points like if I stand here for cover, I've got a lot of empty space and bullets can still come through, right? The points of cover on a vehicle are going to be the engine block. The engine block, the wheels, do a great job of stopping rounds. I probably shouldn't stand here because I got the windows. This does nothing for me. Bullets do funny things inside doors. So modern cars have so much stuff in it. There's cross beams, airbags, wiring and stuff. And what I've noticed, I've shot a bunch of cars, and then I've also been to shootings where bad guys and cops are shooting into cars. And one thing I've noticed is that bullets, and we've done this with in fact, let me give an example. We use an Extreme. Our snipers, we do training of shooting into cars with our 308. So let's use the 308 as an example. It's entering the car door, and they're immediately fragmenting because everything's tearing that bullet apart. So when it gets through, it's doing damage, but it's not going on this direct path that people expect. So this is okay. Just know that a door is okay, but stuff is still going to come through. So I probably don't want to stand here, which means I probably don't want to stand here. I could come down behind the wheel, but I'm a big man that's broken, and it's pretty hard for me to get behind that little tire, okay? So your best bet, if you're going to have to use cover, is here. So let's say I'm going to make my approach, but all of a sudden they're doing an active shooter. And I realize I'm going to have to start the fight here. I'm using this as my cover right here, okay? I got the engine block, I've got the tire, and now I can see the driver, and now I can not return fire, I can either initiate it to stop them or return fire if that's what it comes to, and I'm basing my fight right here. The entire time when I make my approach, I should look at other places that I need to go to for escape routes to aggress. So let's say, let's say that this is not an active shooter, this is just a suspicious person. I've reached my last point of cover, and now I'm going to make the approach to the vehicle over here. I know that I can come back here. I want to make my approach from the rear. You never want to come from the front. Now here, as I come up from here, even though the windows are tinted, I can see straight through. Now you keep coming up and I go, hey, welcome to the church. My name's Keith. How are you today? And then we start our dialogue from here, and they'll be like, and they might unlock the door, roll down the window, but they're gonna do something so we can talk. Most of the time, it's gonna be somebody that came to the church that's afraid to come in. But we're doing some scenarios today of all the possible things that could happen at a church. So let's run through some of the scenarios that we're running our people through. I would suggest that you do the same thing before you start the scenario. The first thing that we do, we don't want any live guns out here. We've got a great scene in the parking lot where we have 4 different scenarios going. We don't want one gun, knife, ammunition. We want nothing in here, okay? We don't want any accidents. There's nothing but blue guns here because we're not doing any force-on-force training. Before we do that, we're gonna search everybody. Before we came outside, we put everybody in a line and we searched every single person.
Make sure we got no guns, no knives, no sharp objects, anything like that. Make sure you put it on your chair, and then we'll watch it, carry it outside. Once you're searched, please do not go to your vehicles.
Yes, there are friends. Yes, there are church security team, but people make mistakes. I'll give you a perfect example. I was a rookie cop. We're in training. Everybody's a safety officer. We're about to do training exactly like this, and we had just come back from somewhere, and they said, all right, let's go. And I'm like, hold up. Everybody should be searched before we go back out because we went to our cars. All 30 officers looked at me like, shut up, rookie. But the trainer was a good job, looked at me and said, thank you for reminding me. Let's search everybody. Everybody line up. Literal groan from 30 grown men and women. We lined up, and the guy next to me pulled his slide back on his handgun, and a live round was ejected. 100% somebody would have been shot that day, okay? So we search everybody. We search them. We make sure they have no guns, no knives, no weapons of any kind, no pepper spray. There is nothing. And then they come out and they start practicing. Let's go look at their scenarios. All right, so this scenario is going to be a suspicious vehicle that is circling the parking lot. So the vehicle is observed making multiple slow passes around the parking lot without parking or anybody exiting the car. So the people are going to have to make contact with them, figure out what happened, and then they're going to make a safe approach, figure out what happened, and then take it from there.
Okay. Hey, Clay, I've got a suspicious vehicle. It's been circling a lot for a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and go and approach it. Can you cover me? All right. Got a dark blue Honda CR-V, license plate 1Adam77 Mary Frank. Approach the vehicle and see what's going on. How you doing? Good. Good. Hey, what's going on today? You waiting for somebody? I saw you circling around. Are you wanting to come in or?
Well, I just moved here.
Okay.
And, I didn't know what time the service was. I was just
Okay.
checking my phone.
Awesome. Right on. Well, welcome. My name's Thomas. I work here with the church. We actually have service going on right now. If you want to just go ahead and park and come on in, we can get you seated. I can show you around, and we can get you inside. It'd be great to have you.
Sounds great.
Awesome. All right. Cool. There's a spot right here.
All right.
Thank you.
This is a standard church scenario of an abandoned vehicle in the parking lot. So security's gonna have to go check it out, but what some of the things you might have? You might have something as simple as it's just somebody left their car here while something's going on, or it could be a sleeper inside the vehicle and they're just using the church as a place of refuge. Either way, they need to go check out what's going on and be that enhanced greeter, but also be ready to protect the church at the same time. Let's go see how they handle it.
Okay, we've got an abandoned car over here. We're going to check it out. You want to follow me? I'll be lead.
Copy that, I got your cover.
We've got a license plate here we'll check out first. You can let the people know. LAP. I'm going to go to the front if you head to the back.
Copy, I'm on your 6.
Okay, good. I'm going to check the front.
Yep. Backside's empty.
Front is empty, nobody's in there, nobody appears to be in the back as well. Let's just call it in, and we'll go from there.
Copy that.
Okay.
This scenario is a little bit different. You got a vehicle with several occupants that have been parked with a clear view of the church entrance. The individuals inside appear to be monitoring the comings and goings of church members. The scenario involves identifying potential threats, deciding on the level of engagement, and determining the best way to approach that vehicle. And you're going to see with all these approaches, everybody approaches from the rear. We never approach head on. Well, I don't say never. Never say never. You always try to approach from the rear. You don't want to go from the front, because if you go from the front, the suspect sees you, and you usually don't have a lot of good cover as well. But the biggest thing is you're going head on head. Everybody can see everybody, and you don't have the position of advantage. You have the position of advantage from behind. All right, let's watch how they do the scenario.
Hey, I'm Daryl. I'm with the church. Is there anything I can do to help you out today?
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm just not doing well. My kid's really sick.
Oh, no. It's terrible. I'm so sorry. Would
So-
you like to talk to one of the church pastors? I
Yeah,
can get Jason
just-
to come out and maybe sit with you for a little bit.
That'd
We can
be-
pray with you.
That, yeah, that'd be good.
That's terrible. Okay. Do you want to stay in your vehicle, and I'll just have Jason
I'll
come
step
out?
out for a second if you don't
Okay.
mind.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I'll have one of the other gentlemen come and bring Jason out. We can chat a little bit, maybe pray a little bit. If that's
That'd be
okay.
good.
Okay, cool.
That'd be good.
Hey, Johnny, would you go and grab Jason and have him come out and we'll help this gentleman out?
We're coming back in because it's a little bit warmer. I'm not complaining, so I don't have to put my pronouns in my bio. All right, so the biggest thing I want you to remember out of all the training that we've done today is I want you to remember, try to avoid approaching the vehicle from the front. Look, sometimes you might have to. We're not saying it's 100%. We know that things are going to happen, but try to make your approach from the rear, and remember to be that enhanced greeter. Always be nice, always be ready to help, but always have a plan to protect yourself. That's all I've got for now. The most important thing out of everything that we remember today is to remember your ABCs. Always be caring.